So in today's class, let us discuss about country risk analysis. What is country risk? First of all, it refers to uncertainty for potential risk related to investing in or loaning to different countries in international business. There are various reasons that might change the capability and willingness of a country to repay its international debt. For example, high taxes and tariff limited currency conversion, inflation and currency depreciation, economic recession, workers striking, war, etc. This potential risk may investment in the country less profitable, even losing money as investors may not get their payments on time. So we can say when we talk about foreign currency or foreign exchange, we talk about different countries we are trading in. And when we talk about different countries we are trading in, it means we are talking about all types of risks that are associated with the different countries, be it the economic risk, be it the political risk, the technological risk, and the many others. Because each country has its own rules and regulations, that's why we can say that we have to take some of the country risk. We have to assume some of the country risk. Under this country risk analysis, let us now discuss about the types of country risk. The major country risks are of two types. Number one, the macro risks, and number two, the micro risks. Let us first of all discuss about what are the macro risks. By the macro risk, we mean risks affecting all the multinational firms alike. The major macro risks are the forced disinvestment, unwelcome regulations, interface with operations, social strife. First of all, what are these forced disinvestment? As the name suggests, governments may, as a matter of political philosophy, force firms to disinvest. Forced disinvestment may take place for a variety of reasons, such as that the government believes that it may make better use of the assets. It feels that such a takeover may enhance the image of the government. Government wants to control these assets for strategic or developmental reasons. Forced disinvestments are practiced in two forms. They may be takeovers or expropriation. So, first type of country risk that the countries have to assume are forced disinvestment under macro risks. The second type of risk is unwelcome regulations. The purpose of these regulations is to reduce profitability of MNCs. These regulations may relate to the tax laws, ownership, management, repatriation of profits, reinvestment, limitations on employment, and location. Government in general regulates MNC's activities to increase revenue and to encourage a particular aspect of development. In doing so, the government may become liberal towards MNCs for some investments for some time, and as soon as the objective is served, the returns from the project may drop due to unwelcome regulations. The third type of risk is interface with operations. Interface with operations refers to any government activity that makes it difficult for the business to operate effectively. It means when any type of activities disturb the operations of the business or the operations of the trade with the foreign countries. This risk includes such things as government's encouragement of unionization, government's expression of negative comments about foreigners, and discriminatory government support to locally owned and operated business, and so on. So these are the interface with operations. The fourth type of risk is social strife. In any country, there may be social strife arising due to ethnic, racial, religious, tribal, or civil tensions, or natural calamities such as drought, etc., may cause economic dislocation. Social strife means general breakdown of government machinery leading to economic disturbances, giving rise to political risk. So, these are the four types of risks that are covered under the macro risks, which is one of the type of country risk. After this, let us move to the second type of country risk, that is micro risk. Micro risks are firm specific and affect every firm differently. The micro risks are: number 1, goal conflicts with economic policy. Conflicts between objectives of multinational firms and the host government have risen over such issues as the firm's impact on economic development, perceived infringement on national sovereignty, foreign control of key industries, sharing of ownership and control with local interests, impact on host country's balance of payment, influence on the exchange rate and control over export market, and use of domestic versus foreign executives. Second is economic policies and goal conflicts of MNCs. The economic policies of the government are geared to achieve sustainable rate of growth in per capita, gross national product, full employment, price stability, external balance, and fair distribution of income. The policies through which these objectives are to be achieved may conflict with the goals of MNCs. These conflicts are monetary policies and goal conflicts, fiscal policies and the goal conflicts, trade policies and economic protectionism, balance of payment problems, economic development policies, corruption and bureaucratic delays, and the like. So, under this, we can say that the micro risks are firm specific, which affect a particular firm or a particular MNC in the natural working of the environment. Next comes country risk analysis. How we can analyze the country risk? Country risk is an indispensable tool for asset management, as it requires the assessment of economic opportunity against political odds. The list of the factors to be analyzed in a country risk analysis study varies from forecast to forecast. Relevant factors are grouped into two important categories, that is political factors and the economic factors. The various indicators of political and the economic factors would be discussed under now. So we can analyze the country risk into two ways: political risk indicators and by economic risk indicators. The political risk is 50% of the exercise but inseparable from economic risk. We can say that political risk and economic risk are taken in combination while considering the country risk. It is very difficult to measure the political risk associated with a particular country or a borrower. Assessing political risk is a continuous problem, and it is very difficult to identify a few political risk factors which significantly affect the country risk. Some of the more common forms of political risk indicators include: number 1, stability of local political environment, consensus regarding priorities, attitude of host government, war, mechanisms for expression of discontent. We know what are the political risk indicators. These are the political risk indicators. Political means anything that is related to the existing ruling party, the policies and the rules being framed by the existing ruling party. Stability of the local political environment, that is how long a particular political party stays in a particular state or a particular country, because more frequently the policies changes, more frequently will be the current country risk arises. Consensus regarding the priorities, it means to which department or to which sector the government or the political parties are paying attention to, are giving the priorities to. Attitude of host government, That is, whichever is the host government of a country, what is their attitude towards the different problems of the MNCs, different problems of the people in a country. War. If a war is possible for the country under scrutiny, the safety of employees hired by the MNC would be affected. Last is mechanism for expression of discontent. This is related to the ability to effect peaceful change, provide internal continuity, and to alter the direction of policy without major changes of the political system. So these are the 5 points that are the indicators of the political risk under the country risk, and by identifying these 5 indicators of a particular country, we can analyze that to what extent the country is facing the political risk. Next comes the economic risk. Along with the political factors, economic risk factors should be considered when assessing the country risk. Some of the economic factors that should be considered are like inflation rate. We know what is inflation. When the value of the money of a particular country decreases, it is inflation rate. Current and political potential state of country's economy. That is, what is the country's current state and what is their potential state and what could be their potential state in future. It will affect that how much country is facing risk. Resource base, that is from where the particular country is getting the resources for raw material, for production of the goods and services, for doing the trade. Which is their resource base. Whether, suppose if they are getting the resources from a particular country with whom they are now getting into war with, then obvious their resources would be at blockage for that time period, because they are not having good relations with them for a particular period of time. So the resource base would be very much at risk. Adjustment to external shocks, that is, we all know that the businesses have to face some uncertain external shocks every time in their business. So these are the 4 points that could be covered under the economic risk. These are the 4 types that affect the economy of a particular country and is covered under the as economic risk indicators under the country risk analysis. When a particular country before trading has to analyze the country risk, that in which country they want to make investment, they might check that to what extent they might face the risk while investing in that country. They should consider these 2 indicators, the political risk indicators and the economic risk indicators. So this was all about the country risk analysis.